Good Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Shoftim to you all, and a good Chodesh as well, because today is the first day of the month of Ellul. A number of announcements. Firstly, apologies for not doing a video last week. I had a funeral Friday afternoon, which is when I usually do these videos, and it made it impossible. I couldn't manage everything that I had to do together with this video. Shabbos starts this week at 2 minutes past 8 or 8 o'clock, if that's what you customarily bring Shabbos in at that time, and finishes tomorrow evening at 9:15. We are studying chapter 6 of the Ethics of the Fathers, if I'm not mistaken. The yard sites for this week are as follows. And I'm going to announce the ones that were noted last week as well as this week. So last Shabbos, Werner Sussenwein had Yortzeit for his father and Marlene Winston for her first husband. On Tuesday, Sue Kalman had Yortzeit for her husband, Eric Kalman, and Joel Rubenstein for his mother. And on Thursday, Gavin Swerdloff had Yortzeit for his mother as well. On Shabbos, Everett Jacobs has Yortzeit for his father, Meir ben Yitzchok. Sorry, that's Yitzchok ben Yosef. Apologies there. And on Sunday, Linda Rothman has Yortzeit for her mother, Fega bas Dober, and Brian Weiner for his father, Reuven ben Avram HaKohen. On Thursday, Ian Blassie has Yortzeit for his mother, and on Friday, Judith Moore has Yortzeit for her father. We wish everybody a Richas Yom B'Shalom Teves. On a happy note, we have 3 Mazel Tovs which I would like to mention that are known to me. Firstly, very recently, Sylvia Patnick celebrated her 100th birthday. 100 years old, Kenahara. Wow. Many, many more years in good health and in happiness, surrounded with lots of nachas from all your children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Last Sunday, Daniel Flowers and Olivia Sutton were married in Dyson Place in Sheffield, which is an absolutely amazing wedding, really, really special. We managed to do everything in conformity with the current laws, which meant that some things had to change, but we did it. And a wonderful time, exceptionally wonderful time was had by all. And thirdly, Mazel Tov to Daniel Black, who is engaged to a young lady from Manchester, Lee Shai, and Mazel Tov obviously to his parents, Ella and Stephen Black as well. So we've got something good to celebrate. This month now, the month of Ellul, begins 30 days towards Rosh Hashanah. If you count Rosh Chodesh yesterday as well, we got a total 30 days. And it's a very special month. It's a month of what we call Melech Basada, the king is in the field. Meaning that if the rest of the time to approach the Almighty, the King of all kings, requires a certain amount of effort and a certain amount of virtue that you can get into the palace and speak to him personally, during the month of Ellul, the king comes out into the field and he's available for everybody. This is a wonderful time for everybody to approach the Almighty, and those things that need correcting to be corrected, and those things that need to be done that haven't been done till now can be done as well. So this is a good opportunity for one to come closer to one's commitment to Torah, the study of Torah, the fulfillment of its mitzvahs. We also begin sounding the shofar. I have here shofar. Where's my shofar gone, please? And we also begin the recitation of Psalm 27, which, as Gus Fine used to say, page 90. So we will be doing that as well. Page 90 is in the old Singer's Prayer Book. Psalm 27 is added to our morning and evening prayers. It's a special time because that is when Moses went up the mountain for the 3rd time, went up on Erev Rosh Chodesh and was there for the 30 days of the month of Ellul and Rosh Chodesh, plus the 10 days of that begin the month of Tishri from Rosh Hashanah and finish on Yom Kippur. And on Yom Kippur, he finally secured forgiveness for what was the sin of the golden calf, and the Jewish people were allowed to survive. These are 40 days in total, 40 days and 40 nights. And since then, we made a note of that day, the 10th of Tishrei, and it became known as Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, because it's clearly a day on which the Almighty is prepared to forgive. And it's been that way ever since. And since those 40 days, Moses was on high and effectively appeasing the Almighty, who was prepared to listen, then that means in subsequent years, God is still prepared to listen. So we treat these 40 days, 30 days of Ellul, plus the 10 days of Tishrei, the 7th month, as special days of Yimei Rachmim, Yimei Rotzin, days of mercy and of goodwill. And I'll now blow the shofar. Those are obviously the notes that one blows during the month of Ellul. It's not 100% as it should be because it's over YouTube. Nevertheless, it is a little reminder, and for that purpose, it serves what it should do. The Sedra of this week is Parshas Shoftim, in which Moses instructs the people of Israel to appoint judges and law enforcement officers in every city. Justice shall you pursue, tzedek tildef. This is what he says to them. And it must be done without corruption or favoritism. Crimes must be meticulously investigated, evidence thoroughly examined, and a minimum of 2 credible witnesses is required for conviction and punishment. In every generation, says Moses, there will be those entrusted with the task of interpreting and applying the laws of the Torah, and therefore, according to the law which they will teach you, and the judgment that they will instruct you, shall you do. You shall not turn away from the thing that they say to you, to the right nor to the left. Shoftim also includes prohibitions against idolatry, sorcery, laws governing appointment and behavior of a king, and guidelines for the creation of cities of refuge for the inadvertent murderer. Also set forth are many of the rules of war, the exemption from battle for one who's just built a home, planted a vineyard, recently got married within the year, or is afraid and soft-hearted, and therefore might weaken the side. The requirement to offer terms of peace before attacking a city, and the prohibition against wanton destruction of something of value, exemplified by the law that forbids us to cut down a fruit tree. One is never allowed to cut down a fruit tree. You can prune it a little bit, but can't cut it down. When laying siege to a city, man is like a tree of the field. The Parsha concludes with the law of Egla Rufa, the special procedure to be followed when a person is killed by an unknown murderer and his body is found in a field, which underscores the responsibility of the community and its leaders, not only for what they do, but also for what they might have done, which would have prevented people getting hurt. There are many, many messages in this week's Seder, all of which we could talk about at length. What I would like to say is that, slightly deviating from that, we did open up Shul last week. And from now on, these YouTube messages, for however long they continue doing them, will be a little bit different, because now we do have services in the Shul. I would like to focus on that. Nevertheless, people have said they appreciate the message, so I will still continue sending as long as I'm able to do it, as long as it's received and wanted. Shul has been arranged with a lot of planning so as to make sure it is COVID-free and safe from COVID or for the transmission of any virus. We're not using actually the Kingfield Synagogue itself. We're in the Kingfield Hall because that provides for more space and greater ventilation, both of which are considered to be factors in preventing any spread of disease, God forbid. We are having a somewhat shorter service to reduce the amount of time that people are sat in one place, because that too is deemed to be a risk factor, so that we are now starting at 10:30 and finishing more or less about midday, so it's about an hour and a half. We're having a Kiddush, but it's a sit-down Kiddush. People stay in their places and don't move around. It appears from all the advice that we have received, the most important factor is what they call social distancing. Now, I don't like that word. It's better to call it physical distancing. Socially, we shouldn't be distant, but physically, yes, so as to prevent the transmission of any virus, God forbid. So this has all been designed, the Kingfield Hall has been designed to prevent any of that happening, all being well. You are required to wear a mask full time while in there. If anybody feels that they are not safe or they feel that they're not well, please don't come. We don't want anyone putting themselves at risk or feeling at risk. So if you don't feel it's safe, just don't come. It doesn't matter if we don't get a million. What matters is that people stay safe. So that's what we've done till now. All being well, we'll be continuing doing this for the foreseeable future, unless something changes or government legislation comes in. Similarly, there will be a letter going out with the design of how Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur will be met in our community. We are, of course, going to be having services, but they'll be different and adjusted because of the current position in which we are in. I'll focus on one thought of the cities of refuge, Orei Miklot. The Torah tells us that when they went into Israel, they had to put aside 3 cities. If, God forbid, somebody killed somebody else by mistake, chopping down trees in the forest, and the axe head flew off and killed somebody, God forbid, then that person might be in danger of being avenged, and also the family will be very upset, and he is at a risk. So he flees to a city of refuge and stays there until such time as the rabbis look into the case, and so on. There were 3 to be made available in Israel, and since 2.5 tribes lived on the eastern side of the Jordan, they had to have 3 there as well. Then God says, if in the future the land will be made bigger, the land of Israel's borders will be expanded, then we have to have another 3 cities, which means a total of 9. Today, where are these 3 cities? The cities of refuge today is the month of Ellul, and there's 10 days of repentance. They are a refuge from all the things that shouldn't be, all the things that are missing, and all the things that we know need to be corrected. Flee to those cities. Go to those cities of the words of Torah and the words of prayer, and the fulfillment of the commandments, and the distancing oneself, social and physical distancing from those things which are forbidden. Those are the cities of refuge which protect us from anything happening. Interestingly, and with this I will conclude, those 3 cities of refuge that were extra, if the land of Israel ever got broadened, has never happened. Clearly God has in mind that it can happen. So you will ask a question, why does God tell us this mitzvah if it hasn't yet happened? The answer must be, it's going to happen. But when is it going to happen? You got it. When Mashiach comes. Peacefully and willingly, as far as all the nations of the world are concerned. Have a good Shabbos.